What to expect? Well, first we start out with some theory. Yeah, well, theory maybe sounds a little heavy, but we're going to talk a little bit about the textile value chain. And we also going to talk a little bit about what makes collaboration successful, or what is needed for a partnership or finding a partner. And the third one is, well, there's a lot of things going on. I'm only here today, and I walked around here and I saw a lot of innovators, new things, new companies, new developments. So there's a lot of things going on, trends and developments, and they influence maybe the need for new partners, new partnerships as well. So that's the theoretical part. In the second part of this afternoon, this morning still, we're gonna try an experiment, live matchmaking. Before this event, we got some help from the event organizer. They asked everyone a question to step up when there is something you need in your work regarding a new partner, collaboration, something's missing to make your business model work. And we got some reactions, which is nice. And we selected 2 of them. And actually, they are sitting right here. So in the second part, they come on stage. And yeah, we're going to see if we can answer their questions, or you can help them in answering their questions. That's the main challenge for the second part. It's good that you're here. Great. Shall we talk a little bit more about ourselves? No, not too long. I'm the tall guy, Michiel, and Wouter's the bold guy. We work for Rebel. Rebel is a consulting company, actually based in Rotterdam, but also some international offices and a small office in Amsterdam. We have around 250 people, of which we are 2, and we are specialized in more or less all kinds of subjects around public-private partnerships. Building infrastructure requires public-private partnerships. Healthcare requires public-private partnerships. But also, that's where we work mainly in, the circular economy requires public-private partnerships. So some projects, we are active in the textile industry, but also in others. Some projects we did in the textile industry that you may know us from. Well, I hope you know us from that we participated in drafting the framework for the Dutch EPR, for the Ministry of Infrastructure and the Environment. What we also do is that we model and quantify environmental impact. And we did that for some online platforms, but also for a circular startup, the Swap Shop. And of course, their question is, what's the prevented impact of swapping clothes? That's another project you may know us from. There are a lot more on there. We're here if you want to know more after the session, but I think it's time to go into the collaboration theory, Wouter.
Yes, and first talk about the textile chain. What do we mean when we talk about the textile chain? Well, as Michiel already mentioned, we did a lot of projects and we provided a simplified overview just to get this conversation started and to see where you are. And again, it's a simplified overview, so I might have grouped some parties together. But let's start with input. And in this input, it's cotton, polyester, maybe leather, shoes, that goes into textile. And of course, I already missed out the design phase. This morning we had a very interesting talk about design, which is already included in production. So that's also the weaving, the assembly, there's a lot in there. But once you got a textile, you offer it through retail at the market. And we have here on the left-hand side, we have the pre-use phase, what we call the pre-use phase. Then the moment the textile is at the market and it's being used, of course in the use phase, a couple of things can happen. You can repair it and keep using it. You can go for informal reuse, which is basically giving your t-shirt to your nephew, to your cousin, to anyone around without any financial transaction in between. Or we have formal reuse, where there's often a third party involved, either offline in a thrift shop or online on a platform. And this is what we call the use phase of the textile. And at some point, each t-shirt or garment is disposed. And when it's discarded, it can either go into textile collection, and then it's sorted, and it ends up in sorted textile, or it can go in municipal solid waste collection. In the Netherlands, that's called restafval. And then we got textile in municipal solid waste. Currently in the Netherlands, this is about 50-50, and of course we would like to see it 100% textile collection, because then we have separate collection and we can start reusing it. The textile in the municipal solid waste often gets incinerated. In Europe, often with energy recovery. The sorted textile is reused, either here or in Eastern Europe or in Southeast Asia. It's recycled, and then it comes back in the form of recycled input into the production, or some leftovers that are very dirty or very hard to recycle are still incinerated. And here we got a simplified overview of the current textile chain, and we do also have a lot of percentages and where it all flows, but for now this is just to get the conversation started. Because Michiel and I are very interested, who's here? So I'm going to ask you to stand up if you're involved in the pre-use side of the textile chain. So please stand up if you're in the design, production, yarn spinning. Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. You can all sit down. It's just for us, we will get back to you later. And I'm going to ask the same thing for the post-use phase. So please stand up if you're a waste collector, a textile collector. Oh, wow, okay. We're a bit more heavy on the pre-use side, but good you're here, thank you. Please sit down. We will get back to you when we do the matchmaking process, but it's good to have an idea. Of course, there's a lot in between, in use and in all things around it, but for now, this is a good start. So, Michiel and I are going to talk about collaboration in the textile chain, and we just discussed the textile chain in more detail. Now let's dive in collaboration. What are key ingredients for value chain collaboration? And as Michiel already mentioned, we're involved in the circular economy and circular chains, and we see a lot of collaboration there. That sometimes succeeds and sometimes fails. So we decided, okay, what are then the key ingredients? And we believe value chain collaboration occurs when parties know of each other's existence and are able to connect. And this is already a very important one. This is what is happening right now, right here, with a lot of people present. But actually knowing a party exists and know how to connect them is a very important first step. The second one is to have a common cause. And it can either be financial. I give you money in return of recycled fiber or refurbished clothes. Or non-financial. I can work with your waste stream, and in return I will give you some products that you can sell. The swap shop is a great example. They are working with designers. For the clothes they cannot recycle, designers work with them to make new products out of it. That's a non-financial common cause. And this one's very important, also to formulate for yourself, what can I offer to the other party, and what do I need in return? The third one is that parties have to be able to make and hold each other to agreements. And this is a bit of economic theory. It's the principal agent problem or the asymmetric information problem. That's very important that you trust each other and you are on a similar level. It doesn't have to be identical, but a similar level. Because if one of the two parties has knowledge the other party has not, the partnership might break. And the fourth one, and that is a very important one which we will zoom into, is to feel urgency or create momentum. Urgency is felt most when governments imply new laws, for example, the EPR, or the single-use plastic ban, for example. I would like to ask everybody to turn on their phones. Thank you. Turn off their phones. But to feel urgency, I want to give you an example of JFK, who's the proactive government. He mentioned that they will go to the moon by the end of the century, 1962. So a government, top-down, saying this is how we're going to do it, actually helps in creating urgency and momentum. The Dutch government is also trying to do this with 2030, reducing our impact. But there are different ways in how we can achieve that. Another way is to do it bottom-up, create momentum. And I think Peter Pot and the jars in the Albert Heijn are a great example of that. So there's a startup, they got rid of all the packaging, and now one of the biggest supermarkets in the Netherlands is using that. So that's just momentum, there's no law, no top-down involvement. If you want to know more about the top-down approach and how a government can be shaping the circular economy, we highly recommend to read this book, but that's just on a side note. Then if we zoom in on the textile chain, what are the key challenges for collaboration? Well, first of all, the supply chain is very widespread and global. And this makes it very hard for players to actually find and connect with each other. The designer is located in New York, the fabric is made in Bangladesh or Southeast Asia, and is then shipped to Europe. That's quite a global chain. The product itself is often complex. And with that I mean that it's often, as was discussed this morning already, consists of a lot of different materials. It's not just cotton, it's dyed cotton in all types of colors, it's elastane, it's polyester. There are a lot of materials involved. And this makes it sometimes hard to align interest between parties or to create a common cause. It's important for the user to have a stretched jeans, whereas for the recycler, that's the worst thing to do, recycling elastane. And then the last bit is that there are varying levels of regulation. This holds, of course, for the international value chain, but even more on a regional level. Cities in the Netherlands have different collection mechanisms, have different rules in place. And this makes it sometimes, even in the Netherlands, very hard to create the same level of urgency to align interest again. These are the main challenges for value chain collaboration in the textile chain. Now let's dive into the trends and developments.
Yeah, maybe I can do one addition.
Yep.
Because as Rebel, we're involved in a lot of transitions, sector transitions. And what we see, and that is here as well, you have the established main big companies, and you have small, innovative, new startup companies. And when you have a sector in transition, when you want to move to a circular textile chain, you need system changes. And who are responsible for system changes? Mainly the smaller, innovative startup companies to initiate them. But to implement them, you need also collaboration and partnership. So it's really important for startups, innovators, and other companies that have new ways of doing things, making the circular textile chain more circular, to involve in partnerships and to collaborate. And that's easier said than done. Okay. Well, it's all complex, it's all complicated, but fortunately, when we walk around here, we see that it also happens. So that's the good news. Yeah, we thought, well, we can talk like 2.5 hours about trends and developments, and well, design took half an hour and was still not finished. So we have some examples of like general trends that, in our opinion, are important when you look at partnerships, and they should sound familiar to you, at least to the organization of the event, because we saw that there are some workshops on these trends already. So that's good. Wouter, would you go to the pre-use trends? Well, I think I'm gonna, yeah. The first one is obvious, of course. We see a slight increase, but for a complete circular chain, we need a lot more. 40% in mud jeans now. When will the moment be that it will be 100%? And in general, sustainability and circularity becomes much more important because of regulations, The CSRD regulation that requires companies to report about this as well. And also because people or other companies, other partners in your value chain are asking about, well, can you be a little more transparent about where all this product and all those materials you use come from? Because my customers want to know. Well, then you're talking about traceability. And I think there's a workshop at, well, maybe after lunch on traceability. But that opens, of course, that opens up the field to a whole lot of new parties that are also present here, some of them, that can do tracing or that can do other things. So in respect to partnerships, that's really important. Let's go to the use phase. Wouter talked already a little about it. We see a lot of new business models arising. So not owning, but leasing or lending or borrowing textiles, and also selling of the used textiles, or swapping at the swap shop or at platforms like Vinted or Marktplaats. And that market is expected to grow, well, quite a lot. I don't know exactly what the source of this anymore, what the source of this one is, but 20% growth in 5 years, that's something that we would like as a consulting company as well. Last one. Well, actually, there are a lot of regulatory trends on this slide. So separate collection of textiles in Europe, obligatory. The EPR. And I don't know if you were here yesterday, but there was also a separate session from Modint, I think, on what this whole EPR thing is and when it is implemented. But that will change some partnership relations at least in the Dutch textile chain. And of course, we didn't put them on the slide, but there are also all kinds of new sorting, recycling techniques, chemical advanced recycling, that we could have put on here as well. But I think it's good to give the floor to Wouter again. We have some examples of how we see those partnerships evolve.
Yeah, so we listed four examples, just to give you an idea of how the value chain of textiles is changing due to the new trends. And the first one is the one which shows new business models on repair and remake. So as you may have heard, Patagonia and United Repair Center opened a repair center in Amsterdam where people with Patagonia clothes can repair their clothes easily. So we see a focus on repairing, prolonging the lifespan of clothes. So this is shifting away from fast fashion and new collection into repairing, reusing, leasing, remaking. There are a lot of words for it, but this is a trend that shapes new partnerships. And we see that repair now actually partners with a producer. When talking about reuse, the growth in reuse, and the source Michiel was talking about, if you have to believe ThreadUp, that's the American version of Vinted, the reuse market is going to explode by 500% in a couple of 5 years. We have a bit of doubt with the quality of that source, so we listed the European source that's linked to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation that did a research, so that's where the 15 to 20% is coming from. But of course, we can see it right here in the Netherlands already with Vinted taking over United Wardrobe and already being present in, I think, 20 European countries. So they are growing. There's more in the reuse market. But it's not just online. It's also offline together with collectors. So Symphony and the Swap Shop partnered up recently, and what they are doing is trying to find a way to reuse clothes collected by Symphony here in the Netherlands. So no export to East Europe or Southeast Asia, but reuse it here in the Netherlands. And the last one, and it also links to the talks we've seen before, is the increase in production of textiles with recycled fibers. And this one is very recently too, the 4th of August, a bit over a month ago, Renewcell and Zara collaborated to make a new collection from recycled fibers. And this is just a start, so it's a very slow, a very small collection, but we see companies growing. And as Michiel already said, Mudjeans is doing the exact same thing here in the Netherlands. So this is just to give you an idea of how the trends and developments shape new partnerships and what opportunities there are. And this circular chain is, of course, the thing we're aiming at. We have been talking for a bit over 20 minutes now, so it's time to give the floor to a couple of entrepreneurs and people from the supply chain themselves. But first, we would like to give room if you have any questions so far. I think we can do 2 or 3, and then we move on to the live matchmaking part. So if you have any questions right now, raise your hands, or if you want to add something or contribute, feel free to do so, and then I will come running to you with the mic.
No questions.
That means you're either impressed or you didn't listen. No, thanks. There's room for questions and a little chat later on. We will have lunch after this session, so there's a lot of room for conversation. Then I will give the floor to Michiel to invite people on stage.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm going to be pretty short because, we're entering the second part now. So I hope you already, feeling a little more active, and otherwise we try to get you into that mood. I'd like to invite Jean-Paul and Mila to the stage. We put some nice places for you here where you can sit. And maybe you met Jean-Paul already here, because you're an exhibitor as well.
Yes.
Here, I would like to start with you. You are the co-founder or the founder of the company Refurb Kicks. What do you do?
What do I do? We help sneaker brands to give their sneakers a second life. So sneakers which are returned, which have production failures or complaints, we try to fix them by refurbishing, cleaning them, and give them a second life.
Okay, and I think you also wanted to show a little movie.
Yes.
Now is the time. Yeah.
Hi, leuk dat je naar ons verhaal luistert. Wij zijn van Refurbkicks en wij geloven in een schoenenindustrie zonder afval. Wist je dat er maar liefst meer dan 400 miljoen paar schoenen op de afvalberg belanden? Nou, dat moet anders. Wij bieden producenten in de schoenenindustrie een circulaire oplossing. De uitgebreide producentenverantwoordelijkheid is wetgeving die producenten verantwoordelijk maakt om afval binnen hun keten te reduceren. Met onze slimme retourlogistiek zamelen wij schoenen in en verwerken we ze zo hoogwaardig mogelijk. Dat betekent dat we in eerste instantie kijken of we de schoenen kunnen refurbishen en weer als nieuw op de markt kunnen zetten. Lukt dat niet, dan brengen we de materialen terug naar grondstoffen die weer gebruikt kunnen worden voor het maken van nieuwe schoenen. Ten tweede willen we natuurlijk dat de consumenten zo lang mogelijk van hun schoenen genieten. Daarom bieden we biobased schoonmaakartikelen aan. Nou, wat levert dit nou eigenlijk allemaal op? Sowieso een slimme oplossing, een circulaire oplossing voor de producenten in de schoenenindustrie om te kunnen voldoen aan de toenemende wetgeving binnen de uitgebreide producentenverantwoordelijkheid. Ten tweede, minder afval. Ten derde, consumenten die langer met de schoenen kunnen doen. En ten vierde natuurlijk een mooiere wereld voor de volgende generaties. Mijn naam is Jean-Paul Tremio en ik vraag aan jou of je met ons mee wilt doen. Ik zeg, let's go, zero waste.
Well, it's an interesting ambition.
Yes, it is.
But is it easy to achieve?
Well,
what are the challenges that you are facing?
Yeah, there are some challenges indeed. First of all, Wouter told about creating momentum. So we really want to create momentum right now, but not everyone is thinking that way because the urgency to change isn't right there. The EPR is there in the Netherlands for mostly the textile, but the shoe industry
not yet for shoes.
Not yet.
No.
So the urgency for the shoe industry to change their processing isn't there. So that's one of the biggest challenges
Okay.
we are facing right now. So in our current business model, one of the greatest cost structure is the logistic one to collect the shoes. And we haven't got our own logistic network. So one of our challenges, and maybe this matchmaking can be useful.
Yeah, you're moving on to the question. Very
Yeah,
good.
is how to get a more smart and easy way to collect the shoes from customers, from retailers, but also from the manufacturing.
Okay. Are there any?
And I
Oh, you would like to add something?
Yeah, but there are more challenges because also we need more volume to also be able to sell our shoes on a web shop. So at this moment, we got a collaboration with one brand, but there are only like 50, 60 pairs of shoes on our web shop right now. And well, that's not going to attract a lot of consumers to the web shop. So we need more volume.
So you're looking for more shoes?
Yeah.
And you're looking for ways to get them to you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's his question.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to you, audience. Is there someone here that can help Jean-Paul in answering that question? Do you have something to offer from your business model? If you, Wouter?
Yeah, and if, please stand up if you have, and I'll come running to you again. So you can either be a post-use, on the post-use, the collection side, or get more materials to make the shoes, to refurbish the shoes.
Well, we're not making manufacturing the shoes, but yeah.
Refurbish shoes?
Yeah.
Okay, my apologies. Yeah. Anyone else from the post-use? We had a couple of them. Of the waste collectors.
I want to know what you do right now. What is the loop you are using at this moment?
Yeah, we're getting the brand we're working with right now. They, besides the retail channels, they also got their own online channel to sell their shoes. The return shoes, the complaint shoes, we collect them, and we.
The known brand?
Yeah, it is. It's from Waalwijk, Nubik. It's one of the biggest sneaker brands here in the Netherlands. So that's what we're doing right now. But still, we are just started. We're a startup, and we are validating our assumptions in this business. Yeah.
Quick check. What's your background?
I don't have any background in textile. I'm just a consumer, and I'm doing procurement for different retail companies, mainly in clothing and shoes, safety shoes. But I don't have a real background in this. But I'm a consumer, and I have 3 children using a lot of sneakers.
Yeah.
And I hate to throw things away, but as a consumer, I always find it difficult to find a solution to drop my things. I can drop it in a box in the street, and then it goes to Legerteshuis or whatever, but I don't see what happens after that.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. So I'm thinking as a consumer, what would be easier? Well, in retail, we use a lot of, you can make use of boxes that you drop your shoes or your working shoes or your safety clothing. But retailers are not so fond of that because they have to do the chain after that, and it's another action they have to take.
Yeah.
But I would say that you have to find a collaboration with the retailers or big companies that are thinking more in sustainability, to give their employees a chance to do just like me, not to drop it in a box in the street. So yeah, get big supermarkets like, I would say big supermarkets that think in circularity aligned, and the staff can also drop their stuff, like me or customers. But it's a big thing. So you have to find a collaboration. The same, I think, for, I don't know, KLM has big staff, they have big premises, so there should be capacity to put boxes there.
Yeah.
But on the backside, you have to take your responsibility to pick them up. So it's always difficult.
It's a great idea, and it's something we're also working on to collaborate with retailers, indeed. But
Not only
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing you were mentioning is then about in-store collection points. So
Not in store, I would say
at
in office.
in office collection points.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's a great idea.
I'm
Ah.
not going to a city
Yeah.
with my old bag, with my bag with old clothing or shoes.
No.
Okay.
Drop it somewhere.
Yeah.
Wouter, maybe
So
you can
taking
ask
it more
for-
to work then.
Ah.
Yeah.
Another one.
Okay.
I think it
yeah.
was you. Yeah.
Thanks. Hi, I work at EK Fashion, former Redco, and we have member retailers in the Netherlands, Germany, Austria, Belgium. In the Netherlands, we have 1,100, so maybe you can collect some shoes there.
Okay.
And two other tips as well. We work together with Drop and Loop and Wolkat. They are here stand as well. We are trying to get more of those boxes at our retailers, and they do collect shoes as well.
Okay.
So maybe you could go there or go to me and see where we can collaborate. And lastly, maybe it's a competitor of yours, but where Store NL, it's in Rotterdam.
Yeah, I know.
They work together with Symphony in
Okay.
collecting their shoes. So
Yeah.
otherwise you could work together with Leger des Heils or Symphony or I don't know, any textile collector.
Yeah.
So that's just a few tips from my side.
Thank you very much.
And you are willing to help at the think along, right? Okay, we will get back to that in
Yeah.
a minute. I saw another
Right.
hand raised here.
Yeah, I have nothing to do with the shoes business, so I cannot offer you anything there. But could it be a tip to go to schools, Saxion or HBO, Universiteit, MBO, and maybe use the Symphony collection there because that's the main group of people that are using the shoes.
Using shoes. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Now we keep going.
Okay, thank you very much. It's not referring to your question about the collection, but I have another question for you. What do you need when you refurbish them? Do you also need materials to refurbish them, or do you have enough?
We have enough. We have a collaboration with the only green tech certified manufacturer in the world, Sneaker Lab. They're from South Africa, and they only use biodegradable ingredients in their cleaning solutions. So we're using their cleaning solutions to refurbish the shoes. Yeah.
And there's no materials left after you have refurbished them, so that you have your own leftovers? Is that also?
No, just dirty water.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is what's the background of your question?
Yes, I'm Simone de Waart. I forgot to tell you that from Material Sense, and we're working in a materials lasting leather lab, which is about recollecting waste from both industry, but the next step is post-consumer to find new opportunities for these materials. And we already have some new opportunities, but we're also setting up like new sorting system in Bouwijk, which is the original region. And I know there's a huge shoe industry, so anyway I can connect you to that. But if you don't have like the direct match to your leftovers, we can use your leftovers, or we can also provide you with some smaller pieces, because the material cascades, so you have still small pieces, which is perfect for shoes.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's the background, is what I can offer you.
Okay. Thank you.
If you need any leather.
Yeah.
Okay. Other. Yeah.
And then I
And
think
then
we need
well,
to
yeah. Then we
the next.
go try it. Then we're going to try it again.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Leonie Blokhuis. I work with RNF Group, and that's a company that has some footwear brands, also sneakers, Max footwear, also Fred de la Bretonnière and Chablis, who have sneakers as well. We are now looking into, indeed, what are options for circularity, also for recycling of shoes. I know there's a company now also that can demolish them.
Yeah. We're working with them. Yeah.
Okay,
We
great.
don't recycle it itself. No.
So we do also have a few shops, not that many. Also some returns, also not that much. But yeah, let's talk afterwards.
Let's do that. Thank you.
One more, I think. Yeah.
Last one, and then we move on.
Hi, my name is Kees. I'm working for Dutch Brand House. And yesterday I was in a workshop and I heard somebody talking about her job working for Echo.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of storage of like shoes that they can't reuse or sell. So
Yeah.
maybe you could get in contact with them.
It's great that you mentioned it. We already got an appointment with Echo now.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
Thank you very
Okay.
much. Yeah.
Okay,
But
then
still.
Wouter, there's one more, and then we. You have to run. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Monica. I work for the UN Global Compact Network, and actually we have one of our members, that's EFMA Footwear Safety Footwear, and they actually have the Circular Footwear Alliance, that is an initiative in the Netherlands, and they are looking for new partners to actually escalate. So I think it's a good idea that everybody in the footwear can. It's already the alliance, it's already the procedure, and they're needing more people to escalate. So it's a good idea. I can connect you with them. And
Yeah, that would be really great. Thank you.
Okay, Jean-Paul, what do you think? Was this helpful?
Very helpful.
And
yeah.
do you think that when you come back here next year, that there are some new partnerships created?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay,
I believe
we
so.
were there. Okay, so what's a good moment? What's a good way? To remember.
Yeah.
I want to make a picture with everybody that
Stood up. Can I invite
Oh,
you?
wow.
to
Can you
the
step
stage?
forward?
Can I invite you to the stage? Yep.
Can you step
Please go
forward?
forward.
It's very
with the people?
surprising, but it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, also
Simone-
with you,
Simone-
Jean-Paul.
Yeah,
You have to be in the picture as well.
And this is no binding contract that you are stuck to anything, but just to
No, not at all.
make it.
Where's the photographer?
There she is.
there she is. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, I will do this also.
Yeah.
It's nice. Wow.
Oh, switch lenses, of course. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take your time, Rachel. Huh?
Yeah.
Can you guys all move a little bit to the
Yeah.
left? Yeah, because otherwise it comes to that light and the other.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a very nice picture.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
Thank you very much. Please sit down, and
Thank you very
afterwards
Thank you.
Yeah.
you can all connect to Jean-Paul and
Yeah.
make sure we get the value chain a bit more circular today. We have someone else.
Yeah. Mila. Hi.
Who wants on the picture? That's the question now. No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah, what do you do?
Yes, what do? I have a picture. I mean, maybe the next slide. Who has the...
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of you probably recognize what it is. It is the Atacama Desert taken in January 2022. And this is what happens with our clothes after and before we wore it. 2 years ago, I met an entrepreneur, Esther. She is making hammam towels with post-industrial recycled content. I was impressed by her story, but also challenged her. Why not use post-consumer content? She bluntly said, that's not possible. And I was thinking, how on earth are we ever become circular if we are not able to reuse what's there, what's out there? So this is actually the start of the journey of circular cotton, which is an initiative. It's not a company, it's not a brand. So what are we? We wanted to prove through experiments that it is possible to use a high percentage of post-consumer recycled content, and preferably mixed post-consumer. We found the Turkish spinner through the contacts of among Esther and other entrepreneurs who joined, and he was willing to take up the challenge. And that resulted last year in a yarn of 40% post-consumer recycled content with 40% virgin cotton and 20% tencel. Ta-da! You would think you made it. That you would, well, everyone is saying you are over the moon by now. And actually, we were quite disappointed. We almost threw away. We have around 20 of these bobines. We almost threw it away until somebody said, but this is great. This is actually what you wanted to prove, to start the journey of changing the game. The point is, nobody had any feeling with yarn, with thread. So we decided to make something out of it. And to prove that you can make a high quality product, which is, well, now we're going to test it, actually fashionable. Let's see. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, I think you're part of the skating.
If it's getting cold, I would really want to wear this beanie.
So we made a product, and but as I was saying, this is just the start. But because was not the aim of our journey. Our aim is actually to move beyond the difficult levels of the game. So we're currently working on a new yarn, composition of 50 to 60% mixed post-consumer textiles, cotton, so no polyesters or other fibers. We wanted to focus on the cellulose-based, mixed with 40-50% tencel, to actually prove that everybody can wear these kinds of products. And what we need right now is, like Esther, who picked up the challenge, more spinners, more shredders, more brands who are going to use post-consumer recycled cotton. And what we can offer, because you can find it on our website, you can find it on LinkedIn, all our mistakes, all our lessons learned, the context of the spinners, of the shredders, of the brands who are actually working with this. So I ask you, pick up the challenge and reuse what we have.
So if you are looking for someone at the pre-use phase, right? So the producers, the brands, the
spinners.
I'm looking for spinners,
oh,
shredders.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So both pre-use and post-use.
Yeah, because, well, the post-use, that's a good thing in the Netherlands. We have a great system of sorters. You probably know them, like Wieland, but also TextNet, Symphony, Leger des Heils. There's a huge mountain of waste, like the Atacama, available. We only use almost 1% of it for new yarn. But it is possible, we proved that. But spinners are really reluctant because it's mechanically, technically, it's quite difficult. And yes, you have adapted slowly the machine, but it is possible. So who's willing to pick up the challenge?
I'm not a match, I just have a question.
Yes.
That's fine too.
Hi. I'm a designer for mud jeans, so we are familiar with the 40% post-consumer recycling yarn. I have a question, why is it white? Because what is the post-consumer waste you actually use? Because if you would use those ones on the landfill, it would be kind of like mixture of different colors, right? So do you bleach it, or do you just use towels, or which are white from the beginning?
No, this was mixed post, but exactly it was sorted on the lighter colors. The next, with the current batch, it's mixed post-consumer with all colors, because then you get a different color, you're right. More grayish, exactly. But we blend it with in this case, it's tencel, and that's the lighter version. But great example, mud jeans, but you, if I may so, you use a lot of mono streams. We think the challenge is in the mixed. So actually, the desert you see, that's the source.
Yeah, but you still need 100% cotton, right? Sorry, you still need 100% cotton because you mentioned it is 100% cotton post-consumer waste.
Yeah, we separate. Okay. We do separation in cotton-based textiles and non. And yes, it's we try to achieve at least 90% because exactly what Michiel was saying. A lot of the jeans are mixed with others. We try to have it as high as possible, but this is one of the challenges. Yeah.
I know very little about cotton. I do know a bit more about polyester, and I see a lot of parallels, and I'm happy to share a lot more of my lessons on how do you find those shredders, extruders. Well, extrusion is not for cotton, but we know quite some shredders, spinners, also about creating the ideal recipe, because there's a huge difference between what's technically feasible. You can use 100%, but that might not be the most economic recipe. And I spent quite some time on trials, and my thing is when I see the spinners start crying, I'm like, we might not have the right recipe right now. And when they're still happy, I know that's kind of like the boundary condition of how much post-use can you blend in. So I'm very happy to share more and see
Great,
where that
wonderful, please. Yes.
One sec, what's your background?
Sorry, my name's Debbie Appleton. I actually recognize your name. I think we have the same university background. But that's for a different moment.
Exactly, nice coffee talk. Yes.
I work for Niaga, which that's why I didn't stood up before. We're not actually active in textiles like clothing, but we work on mono designs, mattresses, carpets, furniture panels, and also always on the lookout for new friends in the value chain. And that's also one of the lessons, like I only could find the right recycling routes by really working together with the suppliers, with the co-producers, because that's when you get the right settings. A lot of the settings are not known as it's a new field. Nobody knows the parameters for success. But if you get them together, they will tweak the instruments.
Thanks, Abby. Great.
Okay. Anyone else?
Hi. Thank you for the presentation. I appreciate the effort to contribute to the circular economy. I'm from Turkey. I'm representing Ministry of Trade. And as you know, we have pretty much potential of recyclers, especially mechanical recycling. And recently, we are establishing cooperation between the Netherlands and Turkey in the circular textile. So if you are willing to find partners in Turkey, that would be an option. I know that you have already worked with them.
We need more.
Yeah, probably you need more, and we have the potential. I just wanted to mention it.
Yeah, thanks. Great.
Cool, thank you. Anyone else?
No?
Is this helpful already, Mila, or not?
Definitely, yes. And we learn a lot about the other initiatives, because the polyester is, in that sense, it's easier because the fiber is stronger. That's the challenge with cellulose-based. But no, thank you very much.
Okay, then I have the same question for the people that raised their hands in the second round.
Please come
forward. And maybe I can use the time, because we have 2 minutes left, I think, to wrap this up. Zorg jij dat iedereen komt?
I think we have...
Good. We are here. We talked about the importance of value chain collaboration. This is our way. I think, I thought maybe then I cannot multitask. So.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I'll wait.
Thank you very much.
Yeah?
Big round of applause for both.
Applause first. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. It's almost lunchtime, and we have to end this session. We talked about collaboration, the importance of it, and especially in the transition towards a circular economy. We hope we gave you some new insights. Maybe in the experiment you made some new connections. Let's see what happens. I'll call you in a month, and then we'll see what happens. One more thing, and then we can go to lunch. These were 2 examples, but we have a whole audience. So when you stand up and you go to have lunch, please feel free and do so to connect to someone that you don't know yet. So a little lunch assignment for you. Because let's see what, you don't know what happens. A partnership starts with knowing your need and finding the right person that can help in fulfilling your need. Ooh. It's lunchtime. I'll quit. This was it. Thank you very much for your attention, and have a nice circular textile half day.